at least okay. I know I'm later than I normally am. I'm sorry, chat. I'm sorry. Oh, man. And I want you to know I still plan on streaming. It's just life is crazy right now. It'll be better in a couple of weeks, Lamau. I tell myself that every day. I'm like, in a couple of weeks, it'll be better. It'll get better. I swear. I swear. But then I'm still here and I'm just like stressed out. Oh no, I messed it up again. I don't know why it's always so uneven. Actually, quite annoying. I don't even know if I'm making it better. I think I did. Who knows? Hi, Ollie. I just took a shower. As you can tell, I am no longer a sweaty mess. And I've been trying to... No, thank you. I know you just want to do that. Every time I come sit down, Ollie's like, can I get pets? You cannot have any pets, sir. Not right now. Not now. Also, candle time, as per usual. Did I put mascara? I think I did. I think I need to get new mascara, because this mascara is not working super well. Anyway, slowly but surely, I'm just, like, migrating back to a bare face. I used to only wear, I don't know, it's not super relevant, but I'll probably start wearing makeup more again. It just takes a lot of time to, like, sit there and just do full beat. Not even a full beat, I'm just lazy. It's like 15 minutes, but I don't know, chat. I don't know. I also forgot to post the recaps for yesterday, and I was like, why the fuck do I have so many links in my browser? I swear to God. My cat is either going to die soon, or and then I'll have more time, or he's gonna get better, and then I'll have more time. That is, like, the vibe. Because everyone's like, oh, Josie, why are you so late all the time? Why are you not here? What is going on? I have to spend a lot of time taking care of my cat, who, I don't know. He's obviously not doing well. So, with that being said, I am, my time is very minimal, so I haven't been able to do as much research as I normally would, because I have to feed, it's like every time I'm home, I have to take care of, it's like a baby, you know? It's like having a baby, except higher maintenance, because you have to administer medications, timers, take him to the bathroom. It's not like they can go to the bathroom themselves, and it's not like he sleeps a lot either. He's just not doing super well, and he has good days and bad days. So I'm not going to dive really deep into it, because I'm probably going to start crying, but the past couple of days have been, like, really rough for him. And I haven't shown him on stream because I don't want to, like, take advantage and be like, oh, sympathy points with my, like, sick cat or whatever. It feels cruel, you know? So I just don't want to do that. But yeah, we're gonna see how it is, though. Not trying to be like, let's be depressing or whatever. But I know it is quite sad. It's just not something that's, like, really fun to deal with, you know? But it'll get better with time. At least, I hope so. I'm trying not to put a lot of hope either way, because, you know, stuff happens. And he's an old cat. Technically, he's getting into the geriatric range. Like, oh man. It's Andrew's family's cat, too, which makes it even harder, because none of them even know what's going on. They don't even, like, care, to my knowledge. Which I'm not trying to, like, push people and, like, make them look bad. It's just, you know, they haven't been around him for, like, 5 years now. So it's like, I don't know. That feels bad. That feels like I'm like throwing strays. I'm not trying to be a dick or whatever. It's just I feel really bad because he's been through a lot. And when he came to live with us like 3 years ago, he was about 11 years old, 11, 12, and I think he's like 13, 14 right now. So he's been an old guy. And depending on who you talk to, they say he's like different ages. So, oh, I don't know. I don't know how I feel about that one, but we shall see. Man, now I'm hungry too. Usually have a quite a big snack before I start streaming. So we will see how it goes. And I've been later too. That makes me feel bad. Oh well, it'll be better soon. Right, Jet? Right, Jet? uh, oh yeah. But anyways, I'll dive into stuff in a second. I just forgot to post the links and I don't want them to disappear. Haha. Did you guys know that Elon Musk is creating his own like Wikipedia for his AI system? Ooh. It's kind of wild, honestly. Okay. Alright, there's a press gallery. Okay, but all the links have been posted. Now I can get rid of them. Might keep that one. God. This is like the one weird thing about streaming. You get like hundreds of links and you're just like, ugh. Oh my gosh. Let's see. Jamaica's still getting fucking wrecked, yo. It's a record-breaking storm. Again. Which doesn't necessarily make me feel better about anything, honestly. It just kind of makes me sad. And here in my city, it's raining, which feels bad to say. It's like really chill rain. I think it's gonna, which has not helped me be motivated with literally doing anything, anyways. I feel like I'm complaining for no reason. um, anyways, we'll see how it goes. And no, I'm not. Oh, Wallow. What's the upside down flag in the background? Sorry, it didn't sync with my thing. I didn't see it. That flag is from a protest. Technically, I can put it right side up, but I just kind of left it like that because that's how I got it. The flag in the back is from another protest. Usually, every protest I go to, people just give me little flags, and I'm like, okay. So they're both from the No Kings protest. I don't know if you're still here. I was kind of rambling for a minute, but the closest one is the first one, and the furthest one is the one that we had a while ago. But yeah, I have a couple of them, honestly. I have more, whatever, but I used to switch my set around a lot more, and I just had my entire set. Just all that stuff. But right now, that's not what we have going on. Also, nice to meet you. Is it Wallow? Wallow like Wally? Or is that like a little, a little goofy? What the heck? Why do I have that linked up? I have so many links. What the heck is this? But doesn't putting the flag upside down mean that the nation has fallen? That's why I have two of them. And I think it does. I think it does, but that's okay. How can we think the nation has fallen then? Ah, are you conservative? It's just a part of the thing. Okay, so it's working. I would say that, just curious on your opinions. Oh, yeah. Well, I say it's more symbolic than anything else, honestly. Um, hmm. Personally, I think in some aspects our nation has fallen, but not in the ways that people generally think. I think that the integrity or the overall faith that people have in our country no longer exists. And I believe that's why a lot of people are passing it out. At least that's the first one I went to. That's what a lot of people were saying. So, yeah. My personal opinion is a fallen nation doesn't necessarily mean that they've lost everything or that the organization is no longer functioning or that there's some catastrophic like government takeover or whatever. A fallen nation, from my perspective, is one that no longer has the values of the people in mind and is just functioning to benefit its own like the people who are in the government's perspective rather than the people's perspective, which is why I have two of them. Because for my, like, I think it's extra symbolic because I'm really into symbolism. Um, I think the back one being upright is kind of like the hidden perspective of a lot of people who are still trying to do the best they can. Also, hi, type 2. And the one that's upside down and like closer is like what we're seeing right now as the overall like main part of our government right now. It doesn't mean that it's the larger flag because the larger flag's actually the back. I think a lot of people, especially in local government, because that's where I do the most stuff, um, a lot of people do actually have the best interest for the people at heart and they're trying to do what they can. They have different perspectives on it, but some people are very self-motivated, and those are the ones that we see the most right now. Also, I don't know why chat isn't showing up. I'm so sorry. What the heck? Is it like broken? Let's see. Do, do, do. Do, do. Okay, let's see. Ah ha ha! There you go. Chat is on strike. I don't know why. It just disappears sometimes. It's really annoying. But now, now you are visible. And I'm going to make the other one not visible. Oh, that took me a minute to figure out, but that's all good. Wallow says, why do you think the government is not serving the people's needs? Not trying to attack you or anything, by the way, just curious. Interesting. It takes a lot for me to think that you're trying to attack me. I've been on Twitch for a bit, and I live in a red state, so the bar is in hell here. But I personally believe that a lot of the government isn't really serving the needs of the people or having the best interests of the people at mind, especially at the federal level, because how do I say this? Like, the judicial branch is trying to vote in favor of people rather than just trying to reinforce the Constitution. So they're basically overstepping a lot of things. They're not overstepping as much as the executive branch, which is the president and everything, right? So Trump and a lot of people in MAGA within the executive branch, they are trying to do things that they shouldn't. Trump should not be involved in finances. And he is. He's trying to overstep Congress being not deciding on a budget and everything and trying to fund things that he shouldn't be allowed to fund. And he's trying to bypass that by using some private donors and that sort of thing, which is a big gray area because that's never been done before at the level that he's trying to do it. So having public donations to do federal stuff without having Congress get involved is technically not legal for Trump to do. And no one within the executive branch at the higher level should be doing that. Congress is supposed to be in charge of that or dictate how much people are able to take and not take. So technically, when you have a government that's just bypassing all of the known rules on little things like that, also destroying the people's property, that's not serving the people's needs. It's because we've talked about it before, blah, blah, blah. This has been what the past couple of my streams have been about. But Trump destroying about a third of the White House just so that he can rebuild everything the way he wants is pretty fucking wild. And build an extra bunker. Pretty fucking wild. Like, if he wanted to do that, he could have gone through Congress. Destroying the people's property. Well, we could talk about it at the federal level by destroying the East Wing, which we talked about before and I showed the plans for, but that's where people would start tours. So the public would be able to come to the White House. It was a big historical monument, and people would be able to interact more hands-on with the executive branch. And they still have tours of Congress and that sort of thing too, blah, blah, blah. But because it started in the East Wing, everything, like, there are no tours anymore. The public is not allowed on White House property unless it's for sanctioned events, basically, which they pretty much canceled. Also, we could talk about how ICE officials are destroying a lot of people's personal property for no fucking reason. Like, taking fucking helicopters and dropping into apartment complexes in Chicago is absolutely fucking insane. Destroying people's vehicles, causing physical harm to people unnecessarily, and Trump is actually encouraging people, ICE officials, to use more force and more harm on people as they're making arrests because they want to see that. So, not just the people's, like, physical property, but also their physical health, which that's absolutely insane to me. And we're not even getting into Congress right now and the stuff that Congress is doing that's absolutely nanners. I went on a whole, like, 30-minute vent about that yesterday too. But yeah, it's really disappointing because there are a lot of people who are involved in our governance who are trying the best that they can. And though I may not agree with a lot of their ideals and perspectives, they are trying to serve the interests of the people that they have jurisdiction over. Whereas you have a lot of people in power who are just trying to serve their own interests. And those lines can become blurry, especially when people in Congress are still getting paid when nobody else in the government is getting paid at all. Like, that's crazy to me. They are allowed to take bribes from companies, basically, and that's supposedly legal. And it's just any effort to make that not legal has just kind of been stifled, which is absolutely insane. They're allowed to have stocks while they're in office, but other parts of the executive branch are not allowed to have stocks as much, or other branches aren't allowed to have as much, like, public stake, but Congress is. And that's pretty fucking wild to me because it's basically a ton of insider trading, and the list goes on and on. Like, the corruption of our nation is very, I want to say about 80% of what's happening federally has some sliver of corruption in it. And people are using that. They're using it to their advantage, which is really fucked up. Like, lobbying shouldn't exist the way that it does right now. More people should be able to make their way into elected positions who don't come from affluent backgrounds, and so on and so forth. Corruption from what? What do you mean corruption from what? What do you mean by what? And what do you mean by, like, explain. I've been saying lots of words. And I'm really tired. I, like, barely slept last night. No, it doesn't look like I have bags, because I usually don't get super bad bags, but yeah. Because I was going on a bit of a tangent. You said about 80% of the government is corrupt. Yeah, or it has some sliver of corruption. So, let's see. Are you from America? Do you know a lot of, like, American history, or no? I want to understand like your background before I like dive into it. Yeah. Like what part of America are you from? Are you from like Illinois? Okay, like Chicago? Well, I'm talking about the federal level. And that's because of what I described. If you allow for lobbying to happen at a very, very large level in the way that we're having it in Congress, every single person who accepts lobbyists like money or basically bribes does have corruption involved in it. And they need the money in order to fund their election processes and everything so they can get reelected or they can promote whatever the fuck that they want to promote. It's basically money that they get to pocket. And if they have nonprofit organizations and, oh my god, there's a mosquito in here, and shell companies that are also under their name, they can find a way to just pocket that money as a whole, which that's a whole nother discussion. That's like crazy. But are you against all lobbying or just from companies? I'm against financial incentives and lobbying like that. I think people should be allowed to, and companies should be allowed to make their case to officials. But I think any contractual agreement or like large scale donations from large companies to anyone within the federal government or state government should not be legal. Like, I don't think that should be allowed at all. Walu says, so any politicians that takes money from lobbies are corrupt? Yeah. Yeah. It's just bribery. Yeah, Daria says interest groups / civilians doing it is okay. I wouldn't think so. I think the government should fund people going through the election process or people like doing lots of different things. I think that the way the government should get their revenue isn't from people donating things unless they're like trying to fund like small municipality projects. So a municipality would be like a lower scale form of government, kind of like if you're working with your city council or something along those lines. Yeah. But lobbying is inherently corrupt. Like it is. It's just how it is. I'm not saying that that's something that can change immediately or whatever, but it is something that is corrupt as of now. If you pass regulations that say that donations weren't allowed to be involved, then people would be able to just hear people's perspectives. And, you know, if finances fuel the world, especially in capitalism, late stage capitalism like we're in right now. So with finances like that, that's what it is. But if you take away those financial incentives, then people are probably going to vote within their district's best interests instead. So, yeah. Oh, what would you say are the pros to lobbying? I think it can give people the idea that their perspective is being heard more. So, like, lobbying isn't just done by corporations, but it's also done by social interest groups, as well as people who are just trying to lobby a certain perspective, like solo. Like, that's something that happens pretty often. It's not me trying to be like, oh, anti-capitalism or anti-whatever, or me trying to be like extreme, because I don't think this is really extreme to think. But I do think it doesn't really serve the best interests of the people to do that, because it puts things in really shaky waters. Are you against all lobbies or just some specific lobbies? I'm against lobbying that has financial incentives involved. If you want to speak to a representative and you want to present your case to them and be like, hey, what if we did this, or this? And you are not allowed to give them anything in exchange for that. So lobbying is actually illegal within the judicial branch. There have been lots of judges who have gotten in trouble by taking finances or taking items or gifts from like lobbyists or companies or specific people. This has been something that's been going on for a really long time. So the judicial branch is the only branch of our government where lobbying is illegal at that level. You can talk to the people who are justices or people who work in the judicial branch, present to them like what your case is and that sort of thing, what you enjoy, And you can do that outside of a court hearing. Like, that's fine. But the minute finances are involved, it's no longer legal because that financial incentive causes problems. So when you have that within, what are your thoughts on AIPAC? Yo, you're bringing out them heaters, bro. Daria says, is that not similar arguments to taking positions for voters? Daria says, here you go, i.e. the largest lobby. I know. But AIPAC funds a lot of our governances, whether that be, or a lot of our politicians, whether that be local or statewide or at the federal level. And that's something that I can't necessarily ignore because it is real and it's really scary. That's another thing that I think should be illegal. If they're giving people financial incentives to do things one way or another, fully funding trips where they basically get to go on vacations, like look at it from the lens of the judicial branch's rules. That would be illegal within that framework that's already been set up for another branch of government. So I feel that it should be illegal for other branches of government as well. And that's how you weed out corruption, not by making tons of crazy laws or changes like that. It's just, that's the first thing that has to happen. And then a ton of people will leave because there's no more financial incentive for them to be part of the governance. And then a lot of people who actually care are going to be able to run and actually have more of a backing. But there's other stuff that can happen too. And this is me taking like a very I'm not even diving into the weeds of AIPAC. That's just, I don't think that it should be illegal for any organization to do that. And we've seen the consequences with AIPAC. I'm also putting oil on my cuticles because they're so dry. Wally's is very true, yeah. Like, I don't think any of that's controversial. What consequences have you seen from AIPAC? Well, you can't necessarily trust politicians' actual perspectives on what's going on with Israel. That's the consequences. Because so many politicians have their financial roots in Israel right now, and they're basically, a lot of their campaigns, or aspects of their campaigns, have been funded by that. You can't necessarily trust their opinion, because the minute finances are involved, or they're getting shipped out to other countries and that sort of thing, going on extravagant tours, basically full paid for vacations for not only the politicians, but also their relatives. Because of all that stuff, I think that you can't necessarily trust what they say about that. And that's not me getting into all of the weeds of what's going on with Israel, Palestine, Israel with the rest of the Middle East, or even whatever, like whom? Darius, are you okay? We've talked about this before. But almost every legislative member of Congress has, like, at least on the Republican side, has taken trips to Israel. This is literally from AIPAC's website. Oop. And I'm not trying to promote propaganda or anything, or promote the institution. This is just me showing, like, they literally advertise this, and how they want people to show up, and especially people involved in politics. And you can look through that if you want to, but that's just kind of how it is. But yeah, so I think when you have, like, lobbyists, AIPAC is a great example, not getting into the whole Israel v. Palestine thing, because you already know my opinions on that. Obviously I have a kafia, but when it comes to just, like, how lobbyist organizations function, they literally promote on their website that they bring people in for all these things. If they were to have someone from the judicial branch, like a seated justice from the Supreme Court, be part of that trip, that would be considered illegal. So I don't understand why any representative should be allowed to do the same thing. But that is also for Congress to decide. because Congress has to set the legislation in order for that to be so. And why would they hurt their financial bottom line? There'd have to be a lot of social pressure that forces that change to occur. What are your thoughts on illegal immigration? Oh my god. Sure. I work with refugees. All the hot ones tonight. I know, Wallow. It also depends on what's your definition of illegal immigration. How do you define that? Well, I'm curious. Okay. What do you define as illegal immigration then? Well, if you're doing politics, it's fair enough to expect Israel as illegal immigration. Yeah, I know. I don't have any problems with that. I just want to understand the question that you're even asking. So I can give you a good answer instead of just going on a tangent. Oh, Wallow says, well, immigration without legal approval from the federal government. Okay. Now, are you familiar with the immigration process? Because it can take, Wallow says I don't like Israel, never said I did. No, you're okay. Because I work with a lot of refugees and immigrants, very often, whether that be through like volunteering through community stuff or just like whatever. I've come to the understanding that you can be here for a very long time. Like it can take up to 30 years in some cases for people to get their legalization status. And that's not because they're bad or because anything's happened or whatever. It's just how the process goes. And so, most of the time, it can take up to 15 years. That's like the average that I've seen with people in Nebraska and the Midwest. And because of that, I've come to the understanding that, oh my God, this situation is not super great. Like, it's actually really rough. Like, holy shit, this is bad. And sometimes, like, people will miss, like, a court date or a hearing, or their protections may lapse temporarily because of some semantical error. So, like, let's say they moved and they didn't get sent the proper court date information and went to their old address. Like, then they would become an illegal immigrant because they missed a court date. And even though they didn't intend to, it went to the wrong place, if they don't have a good lawyer, they could be deported for basically no reason. Like, that's not their fault, you know? And a lot of these people, especially refugees, don't speak super good English, so it's really hard for them to go through the process. And resources are becoming less and less available. Let's see. Is the law fair? How handled? What's the effect? RID suspect. Yeah. Wallow says, yeah, but they're entering illegally. Isn't that fundamentally wrong? What's the point of laws if we don't enforce them? What do you mean they're entering illegally? Most illegal immigrants actually showed up here legally, but just different things lapsed. And they weren't able to make a court date. They ran out of money. They become homeless because it's hard to live here in America. And that's what happens. It's not people intentionally trying to be illegal. Very rarely is that the case. Dari says, I guess you need to start with, does Posey think you should have completely open borders? Oh my god. Wallace says, the southern border, 22,000 people a day enter during the Biden campaign. Oh my god. Wallow. Administration is the correct term. But it's okay, I mess up terms too. These would be considered refugees. Just so you know. And the refugee process is very, very difficult. Sometimes you're in a country for an extended period of time before you can be granted refugee status. So you're illegal until you can obtain that status, which is one of the semantics that people don't necessarily go into when they're talking about the Biden administration and people coming in. Daria says, then from there, Posey, you can establish what legal immigration is for. Law says, no, to be a refugee, you must be recognized as fleeing political or ethnic persecution. Have you met someone who's gone through the refugee? Yeah, according to UN. Yeah. Have you met someone who's gone through that process? Like, legitimately? Daria says I have. Mm-hmm. A lot of people come to America to gain. You don't think so? Yeah. So you probably have, and you just don't know it too. But my left back came from Somalia. Darius. The football has returned. I'm not gonna dive really deep into it, but you have to enter a country first before you can be granted refugee status. So technically, everyone who enters a country before they can be granted refugee status, before that paperwork happens, is an illegal immigrant. Once the paperwork is there stating that they are a refugee, or they're trying to, because you can also go to a country and just say that I'm trying to just be here for a couple of years. Their visas lapsed or whatever. They have passports, so they entered legally, but then because everything lapsed, that's the majority of illegal immigrants, to my understanding, in most states. But yeah, yes, you surrender yourself to the authorities. That's what refugees must do. Yeah, that's what most people do. And a lot of the time when you have large amounts of people who are coming, they all surrender themselves to do that. The caravans all did that here in America with Biden and stuff. Dari says, why do you dodge the completely open borders question, Josie? I think it's a reasonable question, isn't it? I think it's more layered and complicated than you think. And I think it also is dependent on the countries that you're bordering and what's happening in those countries. It's not like a yes or no question. If you were actively at war, you wouldn't have open borders with a border state. You would detain the people that would come in from the foreign country. So specifically for the USA, would you run an open border? It depends. With Canada, absolutely. With Mexico, I think there'd be border checkpoints and stuff, but that's similar to what we already have. Between like Alaska and Russia, I would have a closed border. It really depends. Don't more drugs come in from Canada than the Mexico borders? I'm not going to dive into all that shit. A lot of drugs that we have here in America are manufactured here in America. Like you could watch Hunter Biden's video describing how you make crack cocaine with like Channel 5 News. I'm not going to link it, but like you can watch that video and you can get a lot of drugs from other countries or whatever. But the problem is how it's treated when it hits the market. You can never fully abolish or prevent drugs from existing, even in countries like Saudi Arabia, where most drugs are completely illegal to the point where you could face like severe penalties. Drug use still exists there. Daria says, it's like watching Messi talking about football. Hunter Biden is so in love with the game. I know. I know, bro. The refugee process is more complicated than people think. Borders are more complicated. Just saying all open borders is like a black and white perspective. And no person in any governing position would ever say, oh, open all borders to everybody in all circumstances all the time. There are lots of other things that would have to happen as a society for there to be permanently open borders between almost every nation in the world. Like, a lot of changes. And it's idealistic. I like the idea of it. And I wouldn't be upset with that happening. But it's idealistic, you know? It's a way to establish a framework, though, Josie. For example, Bernie Sanders says you can't have a nation state without borders. Then you get into who claims what land. That's very complicated. Because you could talk about, like, how China is constantly trying to shift their borders. You could also talk about how India and Pakistan are constantly debating over their borders as well. Like, the idea of borders is dependent on the nation that exists. So when you have two conflicting areas where they're saying that a border exists at a certain place overlapping two nations and they're going onto each other's land, like Russia v. Ukraine, you either have a war, or like with India and Pakistan, you have this constant tension point where that land kind of gets ruled on its own for the most part. Wallace says, yes, but someone who enters illegally, no matter the situation, is a felon. They're technically not felons. Send me the legislation that states that they're felons, by the way. If someone steals, they must be punished no matter what. Dari says that surely signifies the significance of borders, though. Oh, what are you getting at? What is your deal? Oh, it's my last of my candy. Oh my god! Someone, Valtteri. I've never had anyone do the Doritos. Ew. I appreciate the Dorito. That's actually really cool. Mm. Oh, that's so cute. I'll look it up. But as I said before, most people who are illegally here in the United States entered legally. Let's see. Eludes examination or inspection by immigration officers or attempts to enter obtains entry to the United States by willfully false or misleading representation of the willful concealment, let's see, of material facts shall for the first commission of any offense be fined under Title 18 or imprisoned not more than 6 months, or both for a subsequent commission of any offense be fined under Title 18 or imprisoned not more than 2 years, or both. That's actually really interesting. But yeah. There's also marriage fraud and immigration-related entrepreneurship fraud. And that's a whole different thing. But yeah, most of the time, let's see, Daria says, because so far you talked about missing court dates, etc., and designations rather than who should be allowed in and who shouldn't be. And I think that's because it's ever-changing. It's not something that's black and white. Most people who do come into the United States illegally are caught by Border Patrol, especially because I assume you guys are probably talking a lot about the southern border. A lot of people who hop the border or come in intentionally go to Border Patrol so they can start going through the process. Border Patrol is the first access to potentially getting like refugee status and that sort of thing. So you are always illegal when you are, like I've said before, you will always be illegal until the paperwork is filed stating that you aren't. Even if you go to officials or do whatever, no matter what port of entry or whatever you do, you will be illegal until that paperwork is filed. That's why this is a very silly conversation, IMO. Voltaire says borders are dumb. People should be able to come to America. We've exploited the global south for decades. At least we should do, or the least we could do, is let the people of the world, in. I agree. And I think the best way to let people in and to increase our workforce and make sure that everything runs smoothly is to like allow it to be easier for people to go through the process. Instead of it taking fucking 15 plus years for people to get a citizenship, it should be a lot less than that. We should, instead of trying to up our immigration enforcement with ICE, we should start actually providing more manpower to the immigration process. So then we can filter people in and out a lot easier. You don't need to be violent in order to do that or just arrest a ton of people because, like, for example, in Portland, there are lawyers who are not able to speak to the people that they're trying to work with in these ICE facilities because they're just not being let in, which is illegal. Like, if you need to allow people to go through the process instead of just trying to rally people up and send them back. Because the reason why there are so many people that are struggling with all of this is because there's not enough manpower behind trying to help people become citizens, going through the refugee process, or deal with paperwork regarding like missing court dates for, you know, becoming a citizen because you have to go through court dates. And just all of the immigration stuff is so layered and complicated. We need more people there instead of just trying to track people down and send them home. Because most of these people, the vast majority, haven't committed any crimes whatsoever. Daria says, like to take it to an extreme, no government would take an proven serial killer. Bruh. Wallow says, there's no real B sources that back your claims that illegal voluntary surrender themselves. What's your sources? I literally work with immigrants. That is my source. I work hands-on, like I am a source there. I don't know what you mean. Voltaire's the British Empire has similarly responsibility once their empire collapsed. They should have let the people they exploited come live in their imperial court. Yeah, that's part of the reason why they collapsed. Darius says we gave citizenship to all members of the empire and commonwealth, but with a lot of complications. Darius says, oh wait, Type 2 says borders are the bourgeoisie construction to keep the working people of the world from uniting, and they should all be abolished, IMO. That's a vibe, yeah. Wallow says, as established they're criminals, how can you trust what they say? What do you mean they're criminals? Like I said before, the only thing that separates them from being a citizen is the fucking 15 plus year process that it takes for refugees and people who literally immigrate here legally, go through the work visa process, all that sort of shit, even like medical visas, like the list goes on and on. They'll be here for like decades at a time and still not get citizenship. It's insane. Bro, why are you so anti-people? Voltaire says, true, but I think they made it very difficult to let people come in. They did, Voltaire, yeah. Waldo says that's what I meant by illegal. But illegal is people who have not yet gotten the paperwork done. Most people, especially in caravans, that's a large amount of people. Like, you're going to see them coming. The border is very visible. It's not like one person slipping in or whatever. And when it comes to people who are illegal citizens, that's like a whole different process. Most of those people are caught because they have done illegal acts. And in order to get jobs in most states, you have to file a W-2 or a 1011 form if you're an independent contractor. And that is, you have to have your citizenship or you have to have status as a refugee or an immigrant that is legal, like aka a visa and stuff, or be in the works of getting a visa in order to actually be employed places unless you're being paid under the table. And you will be given, there's so many things that go into it. Illegal is someone who entered illegally. Oh my god, Wallow. You know nothing about this. Why are you trying to fight? Darius says there weren't really any caveats to that act, Josie. It was reformed completely in the 1980s, I guess. Yeah. Are you talking about in the UK or in America? Oh, the UK. I'm not as educated on that, so I'm not going to fight you there. But I actually work with immigrants and I go through the immigration process with people. And I help translate stuff for people going through that process. Am I an amazing translator? No. I'm not good at it. But with the help of Google and other people who are good at different languages, it's helpful. Daria says, I don't really know the US law. We're both in the same boat for each other's countries. I'm learning though, and you're learning too, so that's all that matters. Voltaire says, why don't we call anyone who has ever rolled a stop sign or gone above the speed limit an illegal? Overstaying a visa seems like a similarly minor offense. It is. It is a very minor offense. Darius, this is why Asha's you pointed shot at me. Oh my god, you're so dramatic. I'm allowed to tease you a little bit. If it actually hurts your feelings, let me know. But as a streamer, I can be a little bit of a shit if I want to. It's not a minor offense. Overstaying your visa, I can tell you from my own experience, is something you're incredibly aware of. Here's the thing. The problem in America is that there's not enough resources to handle the immigration that happens. Like, that is the major problem. That's why so many people, their visas lapse and everything, because they're not able to get court dates in time. They're not able to go through the process. There's not enough translators. There's not enough manpower in the immigration system in order to make it so these things don't keep happening. Like, the reason why we struggle with it so much in America is not because people are trying to come in and steal the jobs or whatever, that fear-mongering. It's a complete lack of support of the system to help people come here and do things legally. I guarantee you, if you took half those fucking ICE officials, trained them in immigration court stuff, tried to help them through that process, then we wouldn't have nearly as many illegal people, because people would actually be able to schedule appointments. They'd actually be able to schedule their court dates, and they'd actually be able to get their shit done in time. And then maybe people wouldn't have to wait like decades in order to get their status changed to citizen. Just fucking saying. Daria says, I used to have a queue for around 10 hours to get my stuff renewed and attend over 3 separate meetings. Yeah, but that's not in America. In America, it's like, it's hard. You have to go to court hearings. If you don't go to court hearings, sometimes it depends on your work visa style or whatever. Some cases you have to go back to your country and then come back to the States. And if people are struggling financially, in which a lot of Americans can be, especially immigrants, they will have to like, maybe they can't go back to their country for a little bit to come back. Like, that can happen with student visas and that sort of thing. It's so complicated. Daria says, you have to abide by the processes when you're a guest allowed to earn your living in another country. That's true. But the country also has a responsibility to have enough manpower to make those processes actually feasible. It's like saying that you want people to, how do I say it? It's like what happened here in Nebraska, right? When it came to marijuana legalization or whatever. Our state had to, like, people voted on the ballot or whatever, made it so medical marijuana would be legal. But our state refused to create the board required to monitor and give people permits so that they can start selling things. So for over a year, for the most part, like around that time period, there were no dispensaries or people able to grow anything or like any testing or whatever that could happen, because the state refused to provide the manpower to actively enforce anything. So everything was at a standstill. You do not put enough people towards immigration, just working the immigration process, not ICE officials who are just going to rally people up and then put them into another country, because that doesn't fix anything, because people are still going to come in. You have to have workers who can actually help people through the immigration process. And I don't hear a lot of people talking about that. They just talk about ICE doing all this shit. But anyone who's actively worked in immigration or worked with refugees or immigrants in any way would know that that is what is lacking in the process. There's not enough funding there. Tammy says, what are we talking about, guys? We're talking about immigration. Do you have, I don't know if Wallow is still here, but do you have any other questions? Surprisingly, it's immigration Tommy. Doritos at one point. I know, I love Doritos. They're so good. Everyone has different perspectives. And I feel like my perspective is just kind of like, I'm trying to be like very nonpartisan about it and just address it for the problem that's actually happening. Sending a ton of people to rally people up and send them away doesn't fix that we don't have enough people working in immigration here in America, especially through the process. It's like having an empty DMV. One second. If you have a DMV, if you require people to get a driver's license in order to drive on roads here, let's say in Nebraska, right? Because I live in Nebraska. But you don't have anyone staffing those DMVs or helping people through the process, no one can get a driver's license. But people still need to drive places to get to work. They still need to do XYZ to get to work. So eventually, those driver's license or permits or whatever that were previously instated are going to lapse. They lapse like every 5-10 years, something like that, right? And if no one can have a license, what do you do? What do you fucking do? You still have to get to work. You still have to make a living for stuff. Let's say your work is like hours away. Or not even hours. Like, let's say it's like 20 minutes away. You obviously can't walk that. There's not enough public transit or anything. So you're probably going to keep driving there until a cop pulls you over. And that's a fault of the system that has caused you to be in that position, not necessarily your personal fault. Let's say. Dark says, would you think you need stronger checks and balances on immigration if you had a larger safety social net? I would say no. IMO. Voltaire says, no matter how you feel about the idea of mass deportations, I don't understand how you can support ICE. They behave like tyrants. Agreed. More Doritos. Goddamn, bro. Although I suppose ICE is just like every other cop for the most part. That's true. It is true. They do get away with a lot of things they shouldn't. Tammy says, how could you go from this to that? Because of these Doritos, Tammy. It's so cute. I also really like that little guy with the arms. I need to post my emotes. I keep forgetting to do that. That's a different discussion, though. But yeah, I hope my driver's license analogy made sense to you guys. Because that is the current state of the immigration system. But no one talks about it unless they're actually immigration lawyers, paralegals, attorneys, judges. Those are the people having these discussions. I've had to interview multiple immigration justices, paralegals, people through that process for my class. And all of them, and even for the work that I do for like my actual job, because I have to help people learn English for their citizenship test. So you can't even pass the citizenship test unless you can be at least semi-proficient in English. That is how it works. That's a huge ask for a lot of people, just so you guys know. And not every country does shit like that, too. But this is my perspective coming from me talking to a lot of experts in the field. Yes, they're from Nebraska, though. So maybe it's different in other states. But here it's hella underfunded. Not enough manpower, and that's why ICE is just scooping people up, because they're basically forcing them into a situation where they can't get the help that they need. Let's see, Daria says, that's the implementation of policy. It doesn't really deal with what you think the principles of legal immigration should be founded upon. What do you mean? You can't have... Alright, here's the thing. You can't have people who are here legally easily if they're not able to go through the process. If they cannot go through the process, then how can they be legal? Even if they have every intention of going through the process, they can't be legal. So you can have principles all you want, but if the people are trying, like the immigrants are really trying really fucking hard to go through the process, but the bureaucracy of it all or the government itself isn't providing people the ability to go through that process, they will inherently fail. There is no success in that realm of things. Voltaire says, laws are dumb, the only law should be sharing is gain. Agreed. Idealistically speaking, I agree. Gary says, yes, I'm not asking about the process. I'm asking what you think should be the basic criteria of who's allowed in and who isn't. What do you mean? What do you mean by that? Tammy says, if my calculation is right, then the number of people I know who immigrated to a country in Europe or America is more than the number of people I know who are still here. Damn. Egypt is going through it right now, though. So I don't blame you for... I don't blame anyone for struggling with that, too. Maybe we'll see you here in America, Tommy. I don't know. Dari says, I'm still stumped because I don't think you're rage baiting this time, although you might have evolved. You made me laugh when I was trying to eat my candy. God damn. No. Personally, I think the basic criteria should be, do you intend to have a job here? What is your past qualifications? And I think the government should help house people or give people avenues to be able to find different career paths. Technically, right now, we have a job shortage, so that makes things more complicated. But if you're trying to bring more work to the United States, you should allow people to come in who are experts from other countries and let them work here. I know so many immigrants and refugees, like refugees especially, who were doctors, nurses, scientists, like historians who come to America and they can't work their job at all. Like, I met this dude from West Africa, and he literally had a full-fledged, like, equivalent to, like, a PhD in teaching history in his country. And he was one of the top, like, professors in his region. And then he moved to America, and the only job that he can get is doing Uber. Because there's no avenues for him to easily try to catch up and teach people here in the States. Like, there just isn't. So people sacrifice a lot to come here. People don't come to a different country for no fucking reason. And it takes a lot of money in order to reestablish yourself successfully in another country, especially America. If he wanted to go back to school to get his credits and everything, he would have to in order to continue doing his teaching and all the stuff he was doing beforehand. He would have to redo everything, that whole freaking 10-year process here in the States. That is how hard it is for people. So you have to have, like, the ability for people to be assimilated in society and maintain their educational status. And that's not something that America has. Other countries have it. Like, if I were to get a teaching degree and move to Egypt, I'd be able to teach English in Egypt. I could move to Japan. I could move to Morocco, Saudi Arabia. I could move to most of Europe and continue teaching. My teaching degree would still be valid. If I were to become a scientist, a doctor, or anything of that sort, and go to another country, I would not have to get a whole new degree in most other countries in order to work. But here in the United States, completely different. Let's see. Tammy says, Egypt is going down. The basics became more expensive than luxuries, and the currency is going to hell. I cry. Arbor says, Germany is demonizing migrants hard right now. It's so silly. They're an easy net benefit. It's disingenuous as fuck. True. Oh, so hi, Arbor. All of Europe is going hard on that right now. It's not just Germany. I know. But a lot of center, like, left-leaning stuff is happening more. So here in America, that would be considered more left-leaning. Like, democratic socialism is starting to get more of a rise again. within public media and discussions, which is really nice, but we'll have to see what happens. Dara says you outlawed first cousin marriages as well. Hell yeah. No incest here, sir. I don't fucking know. I don't think I would marry a cousin IMO, but other countries have different cultures and stuff. So I'm not going to dive into the weeds of that. But as bases of like genetics and stuff, I think that there should be some restrictions. IMO. That's just my perspective. But when it comes to immigration, it is a net benefit. Some restrictions. You don't want to have people like having children that have deformities and stuff. It's a whole complicated thing. We've talked about incest and stuff like that before. And a lot of incestuous relationships between relatives is like psychological problems, and I don't want to discuss that right now. So Zoran will liberate America, all for all. Honestly, I like Zoran a lot. He's just proposing like, what is it, like a 2% tax increase on the upper like 1%, maybe 3%, something like that. That's like nothing. So it's just legal or it isn't. Bro, it's not black and white. It's not black and white. Like, if people were to, like, in other countries, people get married as cousins, too. There's cultural things that happen. If they come to the United States, would you want their marriage to no longer be valid because stuff happened in another country? Nothing is black and white, bro. Valtteri says he's so talented. It's too bad he wasn't born in America. The left has no one to rep. Yeah. People are pushing for AOC, but I don't know if she'll do it. She might, if she gets enough of a backing, but I think it'll make her a little bit too much of a target, and I don't know if she's ready for that. 2028, yeah. People are really, really pushing for Gavin Newsom, which is, I don't really like Newsom that much, but that's a whole nother discussion. Let's see. AOC's a bit too young, I feel. I think the 2030s are her time. Yeah. How do I say this? I could see her being VP to someone. And I could see her like being content with that. But I also don't know of another person who has enough backing as like a democratic socialist who could run that would be old enough. Let's see. He says, I think Bernie could say he's only going to run for one term. I don't know, old man. Biden left a bad taste in people's mouth when it comes to old people. Trump is old as fuck. What's the issue with Newsom? Yeah, quite a few issues. Agreed, Arbor. I think he's a sociopath that believes in nothing, Valtteri. Let's just say that a lot of what he says, and this is just my personal perspective, a lot of what he does is pandering to make him look better, but not necessarily to, like, anytime that he can take a populist view within the left, he'll do it. Not necessarily because he believes in it, but because he wants to just kind of take credit for what he can. And every time he looks semi-good in like, he doesn't, how do I say it? He doesn't take risks. That's the thing that I've noticed. He hasn't taken any risks for his personal belief system, and he kind of leaves any history about himself out, or his personal beliefs, of any discussion. So we don't always understand his biases for things, so you can't really trust him easily. Let's see. A very volatile coded comment to be fair. Iris says, yeah, politician. Yeah. Tammy says, he really knows how to get people's attention. He's a really good man. Also, I respect him. Yeah, agreed. Agreed. I also really respect Zoran. I personally, like, it makes me want to live in New York so fucking bad. Like, I already wanted to live there for a while, but I don't know. I think it's more like West Coast for me, IMO. It's warm. I hate how cold it is. Today it's been like 40 some degrees and I was outside. I was all bundled up and I was like, ah. Let's see. Voluntary or Valtry. Fuck, I'm so sorry. Or is it Voltaire? I don't know. I've been saying both. I hope that's okay. Of all the centrists, I like Pritzker. Oh, really? Really, really? How so? Why? I haven't really figured out who I would enjoy right now. The governor of Illinois. Oh, yeah, he's pretty chill. He's, like, taken more of a stance against Trump than any other place. And like, I think it'd be nice, I don't know if you guys paid attention to this, but in defiance to, or opposition to Trump, and him trying to send a lot of ICE officials and, you know, troops and everything into, like, LA or Chicago, Pritzker actually had a lot more conferences where he had the leader of the county that Chicago resides in, as well as the mayor of Chicago, and the police chiefs of Chicago, and other, like, city council members of Chicago all come together and have press briefings on a very reoccurring basis, so every couple weeks minimum, about what's been going on with Trump in Chicago. But Newsom hasn't done anything like that when it comes to LA. He's kind of let LA be on its own. This is what I'm saying of, like, he will take the side and he'll say stuff. He does a lot of posturing, but he doesn't actually try to facilitate those conversations or prop people up who are also in the fight with him, which is not the best thing. Voltaire, Josie. I'm a famous French philosopher. Oh, a famous French philosopher. Goddamn. Arbor says, I won't ever forgive New York after they let Penny go. Maybe unreasonable, but I just can't. Grr. Oh my god. Grr. Voltaire. Voltaire? Voltaire? I'll just say Voltaire. I hope he takes over the Democratic Party, lol. We need the DNC to become the DSA. True. True. The DNC has no backing. Like, people don't support it. And there's more and more people that are willing to support the DSA than ever before. And the organizing has gotten so much better. Like, locally speaking, my chapter here in Nebraska, they give, like, emails at least every single week about everything that's happening in my city. If I were to live in the capital city, they would give me more information on that. They give people opportunities to show up, to learn about other things that are happening in other states and bigger initiatives. But the fucking DNC has never done shit like that. That's why it's lost a lot of its popularity. Anyways, Voltaire says, he was a witty fellow indeed. I'm always a fan of people that upset the King of France. He did all his best stuff in the UK, obviously. Tears and rip something apart not to cry. Oh, Voltaire. Okay, that makes more sense. Grazie. I appreciate that. But yeah, personally, oh god, I'm talking so much about, like, my opinions and stuff. Oh my god. Oh, so many chats. But yeah, it's been pretty wild. It's been pretty wild to, like, see how more people are like, oh, the DSA is, like, really good. Voltaire says, but Pritzker seems to be going to war with the administration, which I respect. He put Trump officials on notice, letting them know they'll be held accountable. Yeah. And that's something that I haven't seen Newsom do at all. Like, that's why I view Newsom to be doing a lot of posturing. But Newsom is better with publicity. Like, he's better at keeping his name in the media because he's doing things that really get under Trump's skin rather than Pritzker, who's just kind of like, what he's doing isn't getting as much attention because he's not as aggressive. Like, Newsom is, like, literally his fucking TikTok is insane. It's, like, literally shitposts and memes. Like, he's trying to advertise a lot more than Pritzker has been. Darius says, I've never heard of Pritzker. Who's the lad? He's the governor of Illinois. Let me, here's his wiki. Oop. Voltaire says, I don't love that he's a billionaire. Agreed. Agreed. But I also think that that makes him a better person to, like, run against someone MAGA, because if conservatives like the people who have the money and trust people who have money more, then this would be not necessarily the best step in the right direction, but at least it's like an inch forward rather than, like, regressing even further. Ivor says, or is it the first to pose in front of a burned down LA? Bro! Voltaire says, maybe he'll be a class traitor like Roosevelt. Ooh. I would hope that he'd be like that. I think that's probably why a lot of people on the left haven't been propping him up. Just the class thing in particular. If he decides to give up a lot of assets, especially when it gets closer to election season, then, and donate the finances and that sort of thing as well, that'd be really good publicity for him. He's on the board of AIPAC? No! Also probably why he doesn't get a ton of publicity. He had so much potential. Sir. Oh, let's see. He was born in Palo Alto, California. Let's see. Oh, that felt really good. Where do you see that? Oh, yeah. Huh. Wait, Pritzker's on the board of AIPAC? Yeah, can you send us the link, Darius? I was just looking through the wiki to see if I could find that there, but I'm not seeing it. Please share. Please, I'm reading the link now as reference 182. That's bananas. Ah, shit. No! After being vetted for VP, Jewish governor of Illinois is hosting the DNC. No! Ask Kamala Harris is president, blah, 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 blah. Now his fans are anticipating what he'll say on the stage of the Democratic National Convention. He may have paid, blah, blah, blah. Pritzker, like all the candidates who were considered in Harris' sweepstakes, has a record of supporting Israel. He was formerly on the National Board of American Israel Public Affairs Committee. No. Oh, shit. That's rough. That's why he's not getting a lot of attention. Look, guys, we figured it out. Damn, he had so much potential, too. We were just talking about this stuff earlier. Gary says in February he said he was disappointed with Chicago's resolution calling for a ceasefire with the Israel-Hamas war. No. Oh, no. I recant my statement. Damn, I was going to do more digging into this after, too. You saved me the effort. Oh, shit. Oh, shit. Ah, shit. Alright, let me go back. I got rid of my note. There we go. It's better. Better. There we go. Tammy says, oh damn, why are they everywhere? Because AIPAC is everywhere here. It's literally everywhere. Holy shit. I didn't think it was that bad, but oh my god, bruh. It is. Billionaire APAC member, let's go. Oh, it makes me cry. Thank you for noticing that. I appreciate it. Because I was trying to dig into, like, why he's not as popular and why he hasn't been getting as much attention. But I think that's why. Holy moly. That's quite disappointing. So many lefties support Israel, it's crazy. I know. It's so fucking disappointing. The more research that I do on, like, other people involved, this is why I'm, like, a lone person. Like, I don't do shit with, and I don't collaborate with, like, content creators and stuff, because, or at least a lot, because I'm just like, ooh, because you never know. And then once you find out, you're like, fuck. And, like, what if you know the saying of, like, never meet your heroes? Shit. That stuff scares me. Not that Pritzker is a lefty. No, I get what you mean. Daria says, you know my love of reading sources. You're pretty good. Your Command F skills are immaculate, just so you know. But yeah, I'm not, like, opposed to collaborating with people, but I'd have to vet them over a long period of time before I'd feel comfortable. Because, oh my god. Daria says, I use a PC. Yeah. Command F. Reading owns. I'm not a bourgeoisie Mac user. Oh, okay. Sorry. To be fair, when I did IT, I worked primarily with Mac. Mac products. So my brain. Shit, you clocked me. At least I know how to read some Swift, okay? I feel so humbled right now. My hair is still drying, chat, so I gotta, like, if I don't do that, it kind of, like, gets really weird. So, it's just gonna slowly get poofier, but that's okay. Yeah, we've been discussing quite a few things, chat. Is there anything else you'd like to talk about today? Yeah, all of the hot topics. I don't know if Waylo is still here. No offense, he could be a lurker. Lurker. Epic hair flip. I could do, like, I with my hair back and forth, that with my hair back and forth, you know? But I haven't. Just saying. Okay. Anything else, y'all? We only have, like, 30 minutes left. Today has gone pretty quick. Tammy says, people who care about justice, equality, and human rights but support Israel, what a damn contradiction. Well, here's the thing. When they get the money from AIPAC and shit, they don't really care about, like, what's going on. They kind of just want the money. So that's why I'm saying, if you get rid of a lot of the financial incentive in politics, you're gonna get rid of a lot of these, like, people supporting genocide and shit like that. Ever says, how about the Blackwater guy with a Totenkopf tat? I talked about that on TikTok. Dude's fucking wild. Ah, man. I don't even... People are, like, vetting for him. They're like, oh no, he's changed. And I'm like... As I'm, like, going through stuff, especially online, I'm just seeing primarily, like, white people that are like, oh my god, he's changed. But anyone who, like, would have been oppressed by the fucking Nazis, they're just like, what the fuck? Wait 1 second. Okay, let's see. He was from Illinois as well. Would have been interesting to hear his view on Pritzker. Let's see. Voltaire says, I wanted him to be good, lol. I know, I did too. I was so stoked. But, man, you never know. Let's see. And, ooh, what do you mean by support, Darius? What's your thing? Also, Arbor says, dear people, the giant red rectangle in the sky, it's called a flag. Bruh! Sammy says, I mean intellectual support, yeah. Like, taking financial backing from someone and basically being, like, their prop is not super great. It's not a good look, IMO. I'm just saying. It's a pretty shitty look. And they could do better. There's plenty of... Actually, they're kind of fucking everywhere. Like, APAC is huge. It's huge. And you know how people say 50 states, one Israel or whatever? Ooh, it's a thing for a reason. Let's see. Yeah, Graham Plattner. Here's a link for those who are not aware, although I'm pretty sure everybody is at this point. It's so sad. It's like, who's actually good anymore, you know? It's such a bad cover-up, too! Ugh! Dara says, I don't like any civilians being killed, so I don't think you always need to support just normal people in whatever country. Oh, so you think you always need to support just normal people in whatever country? Yeah. I mean, people over politics, you know? That's my perspective. I say that shit all the time to people, and they get mad at me. They're just like, why do you work with, like, people who could potentially be, like, illegal immigrants or whatever? Why do you help them? Why do you do all that stuff? And just because I teach ESL, right? So, and I'm just like, because it's people over politics. And they're just like, but they're from a country that, like, America doesn't like or whatever. And why are you being nice to them? And I'm like, because people over politics, like, they literally fled the country to come here. And they're victims of oppression of their government. Like, what the fuck? Anyways, Daria says they're just people in it. It's true. It's true. The tattoo is so ugly. What the fuck? Oh my god. Wait. I wanna show you this photo. I want you to see it, chat. I want your perspective. Whoop, whoop. Look at this man. He's just, it's so bad. This is the cover up, chat. Ugh. He could have just got it lasered off. Been so much better. Wagner is such a silly goose. Ugh. Of course he goes for Celtic one. I know. And then he has, I think this is Mandarin, right? Here? I don't think it's Japanese. It might be Japanese. I don't know. Taking my Japanese courses soon, so soon I'll be able to speak Japanese. Hey. Let's see. Ah! Oh, other controversial statements surface in old Reddit posts. Questioning black patrons' gratitude habits and criticizing police officers and rural Americans. That's great. Why would you do that? More old Reddit posts surface on Wednesday with the advocate reporting that Plattner used homophobic slurs and made anti-LGBTQ jokes between 2018 and 2021. So American, just get a Dorito or Elvis or something and stop nicking stuff. I feel like you should only get tattoos of, like, different languages if you actually can speak the language or are working to speak said language. Because what does this mean? We've come full circle. Darius does this a lot. It's quite funny, IMO. IMO. What other hot button topics would you guys like to discuss today besides Doritos? Tammy says, I get you, but my point of view is different because I'm against supporting any kind of colonialism, and the intellectual support here is basically support for the idea of colonialism in this situation. That is true. That is very true as well. Israel is like a whole different powerhouse when it comes to colonialism, and a lot of the people are justifying the settling of land that isn't theirs. So the people are enabling the situation just as much as the government is in a lot of aspects. Yeah, and the fact that most people have to serve for Israel, it's not like you have voluntary service, like almost everyone has to serve there for the most part. Barry says 6-Day War in it to him, you had to sign up to that after the Suez. But Tahami didn't make that decision either. It's very layered. But yeah, the colonialism is pretty fucked up. I agree with Tahami there. If we were to talk about, I don't know, another country where I feel like the countries where most controversial stuff is happening is where there is active colonialism or horrible shit, where they're trying to get more land and stuff. The first treaty was between Egypt and Israel from the Pan-Arab League, yeah? Wow, Darius, you're going pretty low. That's not really his decision. That's going against your previous statements of you saying that the people aren't in control of the government. And Tahami isn't directly trying to work for the government and do anything there, so he can't really be held accountable for that. And he's not enabling what his government is doing in ways that a lot of Israeli citizens are, or people who are gaining citizenship. It's a very different situation, so be nice. That's not what I'm saying, Josie. I'm saying that the support in Egypt you mentioned is the result of that. Egypt had to support, otherwise they would have lost their country, and there would have been an extended war. A lot of stuff can be traced back to that, though, but they're kind of cornered, IMO. And a lot of those countries have been cornered for a very long time. The intellectual support here is basically the support of the idea of colonialism in this situation. Yeah, but you're holding him accountable for something the government did, and he's adamantly stating that he is not supporting that. Like, he literally just said that. Don't try to twist it. Don't try to twist it. You're not saying that at all. I'm saying that's why. What do you mean that's why? That's not the only reason that's why. The reason why Israel is there is because of the United Nations. And they decided that's where they wanted it instead of Uganda or some other places. The enablism of it is purely because of the Western-backed nations, not necessarily Middle Eastern nations. They did, a lot of the argument could be that they did what they had to do to survive. Tammy says, literally yes, and the shit, because what the fuck's it on? I'm trying to, not start shit if I chat. Okay. Tammy says, literally yes, and that's is shit, because what the fuck's it on? Are you going to make a peace treaty with Israel while we didn't even take 100% of our land they took from us? We took the last part of it, Taba, in 80s. Yeah. I know. But I think that my point still stands. My point still stands. My opinion still is my opinion. Also, I don't live there, so you can have your opinions too. But this is from a Western perspective. This is my perspective. I stand. I don't know. I'll stand on my hill until you prove me wrong. Just show you. Anyways, what else do you guys have? I'll be patiently waiting. It's okay, Josie, you gave me a bad faith reading. Yeah, a little bit. But it also, I do want to defend a lot of the people in the region, because political stuff is really complicated. And the difference of a civilian enabling their government doing corrupt things and a civilian that's actively stating that they don't agree with what the government is doing are very large, It's a very big difference. Hi, Bixby. Hello, princess. I gave her an extra sock today. Daria says, it's okay, Josie, you just gave me a bad faith reading. Oh, yeah. Tammy says, and yeah, I said before, our leaders are a bunch of clowns. They're just sitting there doing nothing, man. Daria says, we've said so many times the government is different than the people. When we say Egypt, we don't specifically mean Tahami. I know. I think not trying to over-explain or whatever, but I also feel it's important to state that I was just talking about how a lot of people in Israel are enabling their government doing the corrupt things that they're doing. Like, I'm not gonna lie. It's not the same situation as Egypt where there's a huge power disparity. There's a lot of people who are promoting the colonialization of places like Gaza and the West Bank and trying to push forward into other borders, which is really fucking scary for a lot of the bordering countries like Jordan and Lebanon and so on and so forth. Yeah, no, I get what you mean. I think not trying to over-explain, but I went the route that I did because I was discussing that, and I wanted to make sure that there was a degree of separation. But I think we got it all sorted. IMO. We got about 20 more minutes, babes. Then I gotta cook. I'm gonna make some, like, rice thing. I had a chicken sandwich for lunch. Chicken sandwich. Hello, Ollie. Hi, Stinky. What are you doing? Hi. And Bixby's like, get the fuck away from you. Okay, now he's back. Hi. This dog is huge. Do you want to say hi to chat? There's his nose, guys. That's hello. He's so needy. I know, you're a big boy. I have to get his food ready soon. I keep streaming later, so now he's gonna pester me and be like, "Food. Can we watch a meme review of United beat Brighton?" Bro! You just want me to get more involved in football. Josie, watch football. You know, my phone's been picking up the fact that I've been talking about football so much, and it's giving me American football shit. So now my feed has so much fucking, like, my TikTok feed is just American football shit, and I don't like it. Like, I scroll past, and I'm like, don't recommend, don't recommend, don't recommend. And then it's like, Huskers, black shirts. We have new black shirt fits. What do you think? And then it's like random shit about football players from America. No real person likes American football. It's just CTE. It's a CTE breeding ground. It's like, hey, let's bet on people getting CTE. And then, bruh. Tammy says, you, bro. Sorry, any other Americans who actually like football. It's just too slow. It is really slow. There are some good plays. There are some, because I've been seeing a lot of highlight clips, and I respect when people can, like, prevent a touchdown by taking the ball and throwing it behind them, or if they do, like, really cool maneuvers to, like, do whatever. Like, I respect it. I respect it. Do I enjoy it? No. I feel like it's head damage. It's just a game encouraging head damage. And it's sad. IMO. Daria says, it's just set pieces, so I enjoy that aspect. My old coach used to make us watch highlights for goal kicks. Yeah. Why would you watch highlights for... Oh, are you talking about, like when they do the, what is it? You got, like, the little, like, thing? The thing down there? I don't know what that is, but it's like the three-pointer thing or whatever. Blocking in general. Yeah, but I feel like that's kind of universal for a lot of, like, sports. You could do the same for rugby. Bixby, up. Come here. I know. You want to be here. Come on. No, I can't put you under the covers. Oh my god. Do you guys have cats that like to be under the covers? Every cat I've had likes being under the covers. So when Bixby comes on my lap, she's on my lap right now. See? There's Bixby. She's gonna come on my lap, and I have to get extra blanket for her, and then I have to cover her up. And then she's very happy. Like, y'all, I'm not even joking with you. I have to cover her in a blanket. Don't look at my nipples. I'm cold, okay? So I have a blanket. But I have to cover her up. Because she's, like, extra cold. And it's really cute, okay, chat? I love her. She's my baby. Oh, wait, I need to pull it back up. What? Oh my god. A set of situations, which we can all set plans. Yeah, it's true. It is true. No, a goal kick is a set situation, right? Blocking in general. Oh, I get what you mean. I get what you mean. Arbor says, well, I like real football. When one millionaire player kicks another millionaire player in the face mostly. Sorry, sports ball fans. I know, she's literally a cat burrito. Every cat, every cat I've ever had enjoys this. She sleeps with me every single night, and it's so cute. Like, she'll wake me up by hitting me in the face, and she'll scratch me sometimes, and then it turns into acne because I'm allergic to her. But she'll, like, scratch me to wake me up, and then go under the covers. So I have to, like, keep a little vent open on, like, my side, so when I'm sleeping, she can just go under. But if I accidentally burrito myself too much, then yeah. Daria says this is more contentious than any Israel Gaza chat now, bro. Daria says, so you can look at the intention from them and see if they generalize across. Basketball has something similar. Yeah, that's true. That's true. It's really easy to understand like offensive, defensive positions in sports where you have like a large field. The only difference between like the sports is how many players you have, how you interact with the ball, and how you can achieve points. Because in soccer, you have the goal, and football, you just have like a whole line. Like American football, you just have a whole line of area that you can go to. And then for basketball, you have like a net. So you gotta make that swoosh. Swoosh. Football would be more interesting if from different areas of the field, you could get more points if you were to like throw a touchdown from like center field rather than the end zone, you know? IMO. Daria says, in Ted Lasso, they use the basketball metaphors for that total football shit. What do you mean, no, it wouldn't? Please elaborate. Oh, that felt good. I have to stretch that. Maybe I'll go a little wild. But I gotta do it. Oh, that's like fucking better than sex, baby. My little kitty burrito. Stop changing the rules. They work fine for nearly every sport. No, they're boring. I'm a progressive. I believe in change for the better. Just saying. Just saying. They changed the rules of baseball, and now more people like baseball. And now baseball's cool again, okay? Daria says, this is what our American plutocratic fat cat owners are trying to do here. Okay, to be fair, my cat chose herself to be fat. She likes it, okay? And she's extra snuggly. And it's very cute and makes her warm. And she's fat enough that she's extra cute and snuggly, but not so fat that it causes her health problems. As she gets older, she'll be put on a diet. But right now she's young, so it's okay for her to be a little chunky. Thank you. I like my chunky cats. And what if she gets sick like Mikey? She needs to have reserves, bro. So does Siri. So I've been fattening Siri up a bit too. Both of them will be giant loafs for a little bit. As they get older, we'll go down in weight a bit. But we'll be right at the threshold that the vet says is okay. Because they like to eat, you know? They're eaters, bro. They're eaters. And they deserve it. Daria says, now you realize how wrong you were, Tommy, bro. Oh wait, Tommy says, my old coach used to make us watch matches from the 60s to learn from them, and we would keep trying to convince him that that old style doesn't work nowadays, but no one would listen. No progressiveness in sports, please? Boring. Let's have chest Ironman events, bro. I would be okay with chest and Ironmans. Like your intellectual ability has to be. I feel like the people who like get lead poisoning from protein powder though, they wouldn't be able to participate. They'd be a little too slow for it, you know? Anyways, Arbor says, I feel like sports could be more intersectional, like making boxing an official part of ice hockey, for example. It already kind of is. Like the thing that bothers me about soccer or football is it's just not aggressive enough. Like, the thing about American football is they get all the brain damage, but none of the show for it, you know? It's not like they're like, oh, doing technique or whatever. They're just ramming into each other. It's like, oh, look, Frank is gonna start beating his wife and then commit suicide in 30 years. Like, that's a fucking hot take. Holy shit. But it's true. It's true. Okay? But in boxing, there's like technique to it. So it's like the damage has more of a purpose. Okay? Fuck. This feels bad. They're consenting either way, but I don't know. Arbor says, okay, chat, box ball. Did I just invent the next big sport? Sorry, says, I didn't the Chess Sisters do something once where they had a chess boxing match? Vibes. Darius says, one round was fighting, the next was chess. Oh my god. Darius says, yes, very wrong, Tahami. Football goes in cycles. We have just started the next one of going direct to beat presses. Arbor says, dang, I saw Germans do that some time ago. Guess the idea is just sold once again, huh? Isn't that kind of how it goes, though, in sports? If you have the rules always the same, you can't really, like, there's tried and true techniques that just kind of work. So everyone plays a certain way. So it's like, I'm going to view this from the perspective of a first-person shooter. Like, let's say you're playing the finals, which is the first-person shooter that I play the most. Now, in the finals, you have a couple of different options. You can have a certain loadout, and if you play competitive, you have different formations that you have with your team members. If things are always the same, kind of like how they were in, what's the one first-person shooter that was really popular, and, I don't fucking know, Andrew played it competitively or whatever, but they didn't really make as many changes to it. So everyone kind of played the same playing style. And if you fucked up, you're fucked. You know, nothing new really happened unless you got certain, like, players or, like, characters added to it, you know? So I feel like there needs to be some rule changes so that it jivvies it up, you know? Overwatch, Serious Go, Valiant, Apex, no. It's like the one incel one. That's why you stopped playing, because there's a lot of, like, incels and, you know, it's like 6 something. Is it 6 something? I don't know. Arbor says, dang, I saw a German. Oh, yeah. That's all of them, TBH. It is kind of all of them. It's great because if I announce that I am a female in VC, oh, Rainbow Six Siege, yeah, that's what he played. But if I, like, announce myself in, like, voice chat for, like, you know, as, like, a female, if I have a feminine voice or whatever, people are just, like, shitting on me, yo. Like, they shit on me so hard, and they're like, why is a girl playing this game? And I'm like, ah. And they'd be like, no wonder you suck. And I'm like, I have a better KDR than you in this match. And then it doesn't matter. Because they're sexist and fuck. Some people are really chill. A couple weeks ago, we got, like, an old dude. We were playing, because you needed, like, a 5-stack. And we only had 3 people, so we got these 2 older guys who were in their 60s that were playing with us, and they play with their grandkids, and they're actually pretty good, and they're really fun. And they were a little conservative, but I was afraid to say anything because I didn't want to fuck the vibes. Darius says, we all play on European servers, so if you announce yourself, someone brings up the battle from the 18th century, bro! That's actually pretty fun. I love playing on different servers. It brings more joy. But then everyone's like, just play American servers. But I like playing Spanish-speaking servers because it's funnier. IMO. And sometimes they're faster. I try to go to the fastest ones. That was when I played Apex, though. Now I don't play Apex anymore. I might start playing again, just for funsies. But I don't have the time, chat. Where'd all the time go? Is starting to wow, 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 wow. You know that song? Anyways. Darius says, we all play on Europeans. Oh, wait. Tammy says, I spent 5 years playing in youth teams. And for all those 5 years, I played the same play. We would play long balls inside and wait for the other team defenders to make a mistake so we could score a goal. So literally, we were playing in a so old style. Yeah. Barry says that's not old style. It's like saying pep style from 2005 to 2020 was a new style at the time. Now you lost me. The American has hit again. I did do soccer conditioning, and I played a little bit of soccer, so I understand most of what you're saying. Barry says, win the ball high up in the pitch is something that's just football. Yeah. Guys, we have like 5 more minutes. 5 minutes. I'm waiting for you guys to say thank you 5. No one did theater. No, we have time. We have time. I'm not going to sing the song yet. I have like 5-10 minutes. But when I say we have 5-10 minutes, you guys should say thank you 5 or thank you 10. Oh, yeah, never mind. You guys didn't do theater. So, or do any like, I feel like people should introduce that more. Just saying. Just saying. Look, she left. I popped my hips. I didn't really like Valiant that much. Or Valorant. Isn't it Valorant? I don't know. I wish I liked it though. It was like too skill based. Like I really enjoyed like Fortnite's really popular. So if I wanted to practice my Arabic, there's like one chick that streams and she lives in Saudi Arabia or whatever. She plays Fortnite to learn Arabic, and that shit's pretty clever. IMO. Let's see. Daria says, are we allowed to play the map game yet and give you a map of Europe? Maybe later. I'll have to study the Balkans. IMO, just a little bit. Guys, I look so tired. Ooh. The most unflattering angle. Bixby, what the fuck are you doing? Outside the States, which map would you choose as your best one? Middle East, China, and Europe. I'm not good at South America, or I'm better with South America now because of GeoGuessr. But Africa, not good. Not good. Hi, Simi! Come here! Let's show you. What? Oh no. So I've been making him fatter, guys. You know the cities in China? No. Look at him! He's like a little teddy bear. I love him. He's so tiny. He's my trash bin baby. Goodbye! I know some cities in China. I really want to go to the one that's like the cyber city or whatever. Let's see. Chongqing? I think it's Chongqing. The one that's in a mountain. I want to go there so bad. Is that it? Yeah, it's Chongqing. I want to go there so bad. They literally, like, the rent is so cheap there. I want to live there. I want to live there. Maybe I should learn Mandarin instead of Japanese now, but I'll learn Japanese. Give me a random flag and I can name a country and a player. I'm not good at that. Oh, Tammy says, I'm not good at map, but flags is another thing. That's my game. I'm really bad with flags. They're like always changing. IMO. Like people, some of them have been the same for centuries. I get that. I get it. I get it. But people like modernize them, make them look different. Sometimes they're slightly different colors. It stresses me out. Tammy says, literally, yes, man. If it wasn't for Berbatov, I would have never learned the flag of Bulgaria. Lol. I honestly, I would be okay with living in China. Even if I just be like a fucking foreigner there. I feel like cost of living cheaper. There's probably a lot of aspects of it that aren't super great, and that's fine. But don't get me wrong, I understand the complexities of things. But like China would be cool. Obviously Japan would be like really chill to live in. I probably wouldn't raise a family in Japan though. IMO. I'd probably do that in a different country. But when it comes to social health care and benefits, you get like a government checkup, like a full fucking screening every 3 years in Japan. That's a big reason why I want to go there, because cancer runs in my family or whatever. So like I want to be sure that I can actually get screenings, and if American healthcare is just going to get worse and I don't have a fuck ton of money here, I'd like to leave the country to someplace that would actually fucking treat me and take care of me. Joy says, I'm sure it's not that hard to go teach English in Japan or China. Yeah, that's true. The thing is that the income isn't super great. So you'll be able to get like pretty decent housing, pretty decent everything. But yeah, I'd have to get my TOEFL for it. I really wanted to teach English in like the Gulf states because I want to experience living there a bit. But I don't know. With what's going on, there's always so much conflict there. One could say there's a lot going on in China too, so don't get me wrong, or Japan. But I wouldn't mind teaching there. I don't think I'll do it. I might actually. I don't know. I work with a lot of like disabled people right now, trying to teach disabled people English. And literally, because I'm a TA, like teacher's assistants or whatever. So the teacher that I work with was like, you understand that these people are probably never going to learn English, right? Like it is a lost cause. And that's why I started learning Arabic, so I could actually speak to them. And yeah. We shall see. We shall see. Darius says, I know people in Saudi Arabia that used to do it. It seemed like a well easy job for fun, but not like to build a life. Yeah. It would be. It's not that deep, honestly, IMO. Oh, South America. Yeah, South America would be like an easy one. I have options to go to Costa Rica. It'd be really easy for me to go to Costa Rica because I know a lot of teachers who have been teaching in Costa Rica a lot. And yeah, that's Central America. I know. That's like the easiest one for me. I could do Brazil as well, but it'd be a lot harder for me to do Brazil. Maybe like she started learning Arabic from a while, but she already knows some bad words. I don't know how. Because my students are okay. It's because I worked at a Euro place. I'm not even lying with you. Like I worked at a Euro place, and then they would speak in Arabic to me because not all of them were good at speaking English, and most of them were Muslim. So they grew up with Arabic and they know at least conversational Arabic. So then I would sit there and that's what they would speak to each other when they didn't want customers to always know what was going on. And it was pretty halal, except for that they sold alcohol too. So the food was halal, the alcohol was not, depending on where you're from though. Anyways, Dari says, we don't accept Costa Rica as the South. Okay, Brazil somewhere. I wouldn't recommend going. True. A lot of you guys who are from Brazil don't recommend that I like teach there, which I don't think I would. I think I don't know. I wouldn't mind doing it in like the Middle East regions, but Japan would be better. I don't know. Maybe I'll stay in America, but if I live in America, I'll probably go to like I don't know. If I'm teaching ESL, I'd probably have to live in like Hawaii or something like that. Because let's see. Daria says, I've never been more scared than in Rio. I spent 2 weeks in the Pantanal, though, which was wicked. Bro. Rio is pretty wild. IMO. Wait, guys! Guys, it's time! I guess it's time for me to go. I guess it's time for me to go now. We can talk about this more later if you guys want to. But I got to go, loves. Creative was class. Go there. I don't know where I want to go. I don't even have like a degree in teaching. I might get like a degree in linguistics though. I think that'd be fun. I've always been super fascinated with languages. So no accents, only singing. I guess it's time for me to go now. Oh no. It's time for me to go. No. Is it better if it's not British? Is that like allowed? Are you gonna shun me? Call me a bitch. That's okay. I am a bitch. Wait, when you guys do like guns, do you do them like this? Or do you do like or do you guys do like I don't know. You just made it do it, man. Okay, wait, I gotta go. Andrew,
Right.
say goodbye to chat. Did you fix it?
Bye, chat.
You sound so tired.
I am.
Okay. I guess it's time for me to go. Now, anyways, thank you guys so much for hanging out with me today. I hope you guys had a wonderful day. And we covered a lot of hot topics today. The fucking dude came in here, said so many fucking hot takes, and didn't even follow me. What a bitch. I'm kidding. I'm not farming. Anyway, so I guess I'll see you guys tomorrow for a cooking stream. Maybe. I'll definitely do it. It'll just be annoying. But sleep well, stay safe, stay alive, and toots.